to Second Chance MTG, and I'm Alex Gabriel, and I'm joined again by Ryan. Today we're gonna have Restore Balance versus Revolt Zoo. Again, what did you think about the Restore Balance deck so far, Ryan?
Well, it had a unsuccessful game one, match one. So we'll see how well it does now.
Yeah, the Revolt Zoo deck, seems like a pretty solid matchup for the Restore Balance deck, though again, unlike the Tron deck, Revolt Zoo is not going to give him a lot of time to set up his shop, so he's going to have mostly everything rolled up right away, I think. Again, Wally taking a mulligan, which is probably pretty often with the Restore Balance deck, which, again, mulligans very well due to the fact that Restore Balance evens on the playing field very much so for him. Looks like he's going to keep. We're going to scry. Looks like a border post. He's going to shift that to the bottom. So he must have plenty of mana in his hand already. Looks like Charlie's kept on 7. So we're going to be underway here. That is a Terramorphic Expanse. No, we're not playing Limited, ladies and gentlemen. This is Modern, and he's going to play the Old Fetch land in order to grab a basic land out of his deck.
Didn't he have a force in hand?
I believe so. It looks like he has another land, but he wants to get the Terramorphic out of his hand now because it's really slow, and he probably needs a certain color red. It looks like white is going to be the color of choice. He has double white cards in his deck, so that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Charlie's going to be sacrificing a Windswept Heath here. Looks like he had a Wild Nicon in his hand, so that's probably his turn 1 play here. Again, the Revolt 2 deck is very fast and punishing, playing Burning Tree Emissary as well as the Herbalist from Ether Revolt that allows him to play multiple creatures in the same turn. And if he has a Bushwhacker in his hand, is able to have a real explosive start against his opponent. Looks like it's going to be Stomping Ground here, probably into Wild Nicottle. Looks like he's going to push to the front. Yep, Wild Nicottle comes into play. Okay, and the race is on.
Yep, that's a nasty little card.
Yeah, looks like he's going to be playing Border Posts here. Develop his mana. Probably just keep replaying the same land, playing Border Posts. As is typical with the Restore Balance deck. Looks like he's going to pick up the planes again. Pass the turn to his opponent. Looks like, I'm not sure. Charlie looks like he has a decent amount of lands in his hand, unfortunately, which is not the best for this kind of matchup. He probably wants that pressure. Looks like he drew a Curd Ape. And he's thinking about what he wants to do this turn. Looks like he has at least one Burning Tree Emissary, so we'll have somewhat of an explosive start here.
So Charlie's Zoo deck doesn't care that much about the lands coming into play untapped. I don't imagine against Restore Balance.
Oh yeah, he's definitely going to just pay life for all of his lands in this matchup because the life total is mostly irrelevant. The Restore Balance deck is typically trying to lock its opponent out of the game, so the paying life for lands is mostly irrelevant. It's like he's going to get a Temple Garden here. See what he's able to deploy this turn. Looks like he's looking at Tarkus Command. I'd probably not playing that one yet. That's probably something he wants to save in his hand for later in the game. Alright, looks like he's going to play Burning Tree Emissary here. And is he able to follow it up with anything great here? Or is this going to be the Curd Ape? He's got to be a little worried about playing into Restore Balance, though I don't know if his deck can afford to really play around that card. It's very problematic for him to not play his threats. Unless he's able to save a Bushwhacker in his hand, it's very hard for him to not deploy threats. It looks like he's going to go for a Tarkus Command here. Essentially, it'll deal 4 damage because he'll probably choose the modes to 3 damage and pump his team. I don't know if I like this play too much. I think I'd much rather play the Curd Ape here. It's unfortunate if his opponent has Restore Balance in his hand, but I don't think the Curd Ape is getting much more value regardless if he plays it or not. But he's regardless if he holds it in his hand this turn, so he's probably better off playing it, but I guess he feels otherwise. Looks like Charlie is attempting to play a 3rd land, which is definitely okay. This is seems a little problematic here. I believe Charlie played 2 lands this turn.
I think he did.
It looks like neither player noticed, so we're gonna continue on here anyway. I guess it's the kind of confusing part when you're playing against Restore Balance again because they don't usually have lands in play. Sometimes it's hard to tell what turn it is. And honestly, if Wally's gonna play Restore Balance here, he's probably totally fine with him playing an extra land. It looks like he is. So it looks like his extra land is not going to matter here due to the fact that it's just going to get sacrificed anyway. Alright, looks like he's going to Cascade in the Restore Balance. Always the most fun part of playing these Cascade decks is just revealing half your deck to your opponent. Looks like he's got to dig for it. See Ghostly Prison, Thragtusk, among other cards. There's Restore Balance, and for the first time we get to see the namesake card of the deck be cast. Charlie's going to take a read of it. He's not going to like what he sees, I'm assuming. His board is going to mostly be going after this. And unfortunately for the Zoo deck, he doesn't actually play a ton of mana sources, so losing 2 of his mana here is very problematic for him, I believe. Alright, so I'm not sure how many. Well, it looks like he has 4 cards in hand. I'm pretty sure Charlie has less than that. So he shouldn't have to discard anything. Okay, yeah, he has 2. Oddly enough, playing that extra land from Charlie's perspective was probably a lot worse for him because now he's going to lose it to the restore balance, which in other case he wouldn't. Looks like Wally's resolving his part of restore balance, and he's going to keep the stomping ground. Looks like he's not going to keep any of the creatures, unfortunately. And yeah, this is going to be a really hard game for Charlie to come back from. I've seen a Nahiri lurking in Wally's hand, which is his win condition in the deck. And as long as he has another way to cast the card, which looks like at least has a border post in his hand, I think he's going to be able to do that. And Nahiri should be able to play cleanup fairly easily here. Well, Charlie take a draw here. Looks like it's another Tarkus command. Not the best with his opponent at 14 life. I think he should probably has to play the Curd Ape here, obviously. I don't know if he even kept it in his hand. No, it looks like he just kept 2 lands in the command here. That's a real problematic situation for Charlie here. See if Wally can play this Nahiri here and maybe cinch up this game. That's a haymaker, folks. That is a ghostly prison.
Oh, that is
that is very good in combination with Armageddoning your opponents.
Yeah, that's not going to be nice at all.
That might just lock up the game right here and now because the Revolt 2 deck already plays such few mana sources that it's not going to be able to attack very much to begin with, and now it has to pay 2 mana for each creature. Yeah, this just might be it. I mean, it's gonna once he can play that Nahiri, I think this game's gonna be over in relatively short fashion. I think Charlie's just checking to see what mana sources are left in his deck and to see what other cards he has. So gonna grab a mountain here, and not great. Doesn't have white mana. He might actually be off white mana for this game. I know he had 2 white sources. He had sacrifice. Looks like he has 1 in his hand here, so it's fine. He's gonna just a Tarkus command him. Deal 3 to him. It's relatively not great here. He's always going to put the land to play too, with some pizzazz in there, why use your land drop when you can play it for free? There we go. It seems pretty good with the Goblin guy. He's able to get a tech in here. We'll see if Wally's able to get a land off this. He's not. It's an Emrakul, the Eon's Torn. And not the best draw here, but it's probably fine. It looks like Charlie is not able to deal too much pressure to Wally at the moment, but...
Is there only 1 Emrakul in this deck?
Yeah. He only plays 1 Emrakul. It's usually just a way to have Nahiri finish off the game when the Restore Balance deck takes control.
Yeah, but since he has it in hand, does he have a way to put it back in?
Yeah, Nahiri's ability will allow him to discard the Emrakul and be able to shovel it back in his deck. So Nahiri and Emrakul worked very well in tangent with each other. Oh, it's a Rancor. That's a very good draw from Charlie. He's going to be able to get in 4 here, looks like. And he's going to draw Volume Wilds. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure Nahiri's going to come down and probably just clean all this up, and that's going to be really problematic for Charlie to get through at this point. All right, so we got the Evolving Wilds off of the Goblin guy there, and looks like he has a Nahiri Emrakul. Can't tell the card he drew there for turn, but he's probably just going to play Nahiri here. It seems like the best thing to do right now. He can clean up this Goblin guy. And then probably just slowly take it up and win the game. Looks like he's just going to pass the turn here. He must have drawn another Cascade card, probably a Violent Outburst here. And he's going to try to just get everything with Charlie. Charlie drew the Herbalist, the Revolt card from Ether Revolt. Not very good as a top deck. It doesn't really do much here, especially with the Ghostly Prison, not allowing him to really attack with it. It looks like he's going to cast this Cascade card right here. Or no, he's going to make sure to reveal Goblin guy. That's a Restore Balance. He definitely doesn't want to draw that, so he's probably forced into casting this. It's Violent Outburst. He'll reveal the Restore Balance. The Restore Balance is going to get, looks like, 2 more of Charlie's lands, which, again, he's running out of at this point. And it's going to get the Goblin guy. He'll get the Rancor back in his hand at the very least. Though, unfortunately, I don't think this is a position that the Result 2 deck can come back from. Alright, it looks like there's an issue with the Rancor here. It looks like Charlie should get the Rancor back in his hand as part of the effect. Looks like they're discussing that right now, but I think that the right conclusion is he should definitely keep the Rancor. Looks like they're having a little bit of an discussion about it right now. All right, looks like looks like Wally decided to discard the Emrakul to restore balance because he only had 1 card in his hand, or Charlie that is. So he had to discard at least 1, and the Emrakul is pretty easy discard. You don't really want that in your hand anyway. Mm-hmm. Knowing Emrakul and the Nahiri decks, it'll find a way to show back up. It'll sneak to the crowd of his deck somehow. All right, let's see. Looks like it's going to be Wally's turn. He's going to take a draw here. Can't tell exactly what it was. It's like he's going to play Nahiri, though. Yeah, Nahiri's going to be coming to play. I think he's probably going to seal up this game. I feel like it's going to be really hard for Charlie to interact with this Nahiri and also deal the rest of points of damage. It's like Wally likes the card in his hand, which is also terrifying for Charlie at this point. Yeah, it's like Charlie's just going to have to pass the turn. Yeah, Nahiri's just going to tick up and likely end the game here. It's another border post, picking up the land to play the land here. He's going to play a Greater Gargadon. Okay, he's just going to put that in suspend, just to kind of cinch it in a little deeper here. Looks like Nahiri's going to be able to ult this next turn, and that's probably the game. Alright, I'll untap and draw. Make sure to, do your proper game procedures and take the counter off the Gargadon. Alright, Nahiri's going to minus here. This is where we play the Show Me the Emrakul. See if you drew it this turn. I don't believe he did, so that's probably moving on to game 2 momentarily. And there is the Aeon's Torn, and there goes Charlie's permanence and his life total. Well, with cards like main deck Ghostly Prison in the deck, it seems really hard for Revolt 2 to really get a foothold in the game like this.
Yeah, it's really tough to get around that Ghostly Prison when they're destroying your lands.
Yep. So what do we got for sideboards here?
Alright. So we got 3 Ricochet Traps, 3 Lionine, the Sanctities, 2 Nethermoors, 2 Slaughter Games, 4 Wear and Tear, and 1 Dampening Matrix.
And this is for the Restore Balance deck, I assume.
Yes,
so.
This is for the Restore Balance.
Well, it doesn't look like very much of that is going to be too great here. He might bring in the Leyline Sanctity as a way to interact with the burn spells, though unfortunately a Tarkus command gets around it anyway. So I don't think he should bring cards in like card like that, though he might bring it in anyway. Other than that, I don't think much of this is very good for this matchup, because I think this matchup is probably already good for the Restore Balance deck. It's very good at cleaning up the board and locking down creatures. So I think that he probably doesn't have to bring much in anyway. What is Charlie bringing to the table?
Alright, Charlie's bringing in Loxodon Smiter, 3 of them, 2 Rest in Peace, 1 Stony Silence, 1 Path to Exile, 1 Eidolon of Rhetoric, 1 Brereton Forge.
The Brereton Forge Sender?
Yeah. 1 Kataki, 1 Ancient Grudge, 1 Ghost Quarters, and 1 Core Firewalker, and 2 Leyline of Sanctity.
Okay, well, that's actually quite a few good cards for Charlie in this matchup. The Eidolon of Rhetoric will prevent Wally from casting Restore Balance off the Suspend cards, or off of the Cascade cards. So that's a great card in the matchup. So is any of the artifact cards, such as the Kataki and the Stony Silence. In particular, the Loxodon Smiter could be very powerful in contingent with Restore Balance because he's able to put it into play off the discard. Though I'm not sure if Charlie is aware of that interaction.
Yeah, I really like Kataki in this matchup, so that he basically has to pay for his artifact basic lands.
yeah. Kataki, and as well as the Stony Silence, serve very similar functions as far as just turning off the mana rocks and making it so he has to play his lands out, which is again, the Restore Balance deck plays very little land. So it's with those cards in play, Wally's going to have to find a way to answer them, lest he fall too far behind in the game. And again, he probably brings in the Ancient Grudge as another way to tag the mana at this point. It's really good. It's a 2-for-1. Again, Stone Raiding Wally is a really good way to slow him down. And unfortunately, I don't know if he has any out to the Stony Silence, or not the Stony Silence, the Ghostly Prisons in Wally's deck. So if he doesn't, it looks like he does not. It's going to be really problematic for him to beat that card if it shows up. Again, I'm curious to see if he brings in the Loxodon Smiters here, because I feel like that is a pretty unknown interaction, because just, again, with cards like Restore Balance, you don't play against a lot in any kind of format, to be honest. Alright, it's like he's at least bringing in the artifact removal and the disruption, looks like, at the very least, the Ancient Grudge among other cards. I don't think Wally changes much of his deck, if anything at all. I think his deck is very, very well suited to win this kind of matchup. So he might just even present the same 60 here.
Yeah, I actually think that's best.
Yeah, he might bring in ley lines, though I don't think it's the best in this kind of matchup. There's just not a lot of burn in the Zoo deck. The Zoo deck typically reaches the finish line more with creatures, and the burn is just a couple of burn spells to finish off the opponent. They only usually play a max total of 8 burn spells. And again, Tarkar's Command is not affected by Leyline of Sanctity, so again, I don't really like it here, but we'll see if he brings it in. So they're going to be shuffling up here. Charlie's definitely on an uphill battle to climb in this game, though the Revolt deck is very good at winning a lot of even really bad matchups if it just draws enough of the Revolt creatures and Burning Tree Emissaries on the second turn of the game. He can just deal his opponent more than half his life total by turn 2 if he has the right draw.
Yeah, he can deal a lot of damage very, very quickly.
Yep, we'll see. Looks like I see a Wild Nakatl, some lands. I can't tell what else is in Charlie's hand. Looks like Wally's just taking a mulligan very quickly. He has a Reckless Bushwhacker in his hand, which is really good. Then one of the namesake cards of the deck here. I don't know if he has a way to trigger. Oh yeah, he has the Honored Herbalist, which unfortunately does not work with the Reckless Bushwhacker. He needs a Burning Tree Emissary to pair with it, though he could always do it on turn 3, and that works just fine. Looks like Wally's taking a mulligan. Once again, the Restore Balance deck, I think mulligans just quite frequently in general. The deck is not very reliant on having extra resources. Usually, once you cast Restore Balance, you make up any mulligans you had already. Looks like he's going to go to 6 here. Charlie must be keeping on 7, it looks like, so... Alright, let's see what Wally gets here. I see some basic lands, some border posts. I think he's keeping here. He's going to scry. It's an Evercruel. Clearly don't want that card, so that's going to the bottom.
Yep.
It's a very easy scry. Oh, looks like it's going to be Charlie's going to be underway. Probably going to lead off again with Wild Nakatl. Okay. There's a Wild Nakatl. Yeah, it looks like Charlie's a little land heavy again, which is not the worst in this kind of matchup because at least if he loses a bunch of his lands, he may be able to rebuild here. Looks like it's going to be a border post, unsurprisingly. See what he's willing to draw here, Charlie. Okay, Charlie drew a Curdape. Not bad. It's not the best card in this situation, I think, but it's not the worst either. I think he wants to try to set up this Herbalist into Reckless Bushwhacker. So you might just spend this turn playing the Curdape and attacking for 3 with the Wild Nakatl. I'm not sure if he has another play in his hand, but... So he's thinking about Temple Garden here. He wants to get a Plains at least for the Wild Nakatl, so it's going to be probably either that or Sacred Foundry.
And he's going for the save.
Yeah, it makes sense. The deck is red sources are at a premium in this deck. Once you have your 1 green and 1 white, you usually don't need a second. Though a lot of the cyber cards are white, so you do want some, at least 1 white source usually as well. But either way, I think he's going to play Curdape here. It looks like he's eyeing a Tarkus Command, which I don't really like in this spot. I think you want to probably save that for when you have a bigger board. And it's a card that's usually going to be good for the damage regardless of what time of the game it is, versus the Curdape is it falls off a cliff rather quickly. Looks like he's debating what he wants to do here. I'm thinking he might do this with Tarkus Command, though. Alright, looks like he's separating his mana, so he may be going for the Curdape here after all, yeah. Alright, he's going to play the Curdape, which I like. I think that is the proper play here. You need to get as much damage out you can out of your creatures before they die, and this is, again, it's going to rot in his hand if he doesn't get to play it right here anyway. So,
yeah, try and get as many creatures out and... fire away.
Yeah, it looks like Wally drew Violent Outburst. Very good here. He's going to be able to restore balance next turn. And instant speed, no less. So that's going to be really powerful here. Oh, that's a very good draw from Charlie. That's Gataki.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he can. He may want to delay his Herbalist for a turn just to get that Gataki in play. One of the better sideboard cards he has here. He's going to be able to keep Wally off restore balancing this next turn if he's able to play it here. And then the next turn, between the Bushwhacker, the Gataki, and the Tarkus Command, he may be able to finish the game. Alright, let's see what he does here. This is actually a kind of a complex hand he has here. There's a lot of options he has. And we'll see what he wants to do. I think he wants to save the fetch land for the Herbalist here, but it looks like he's going to crack it here. Maybe he has trying to hope to draw another one. Or he's going to play. He could play Herbalist into the Gataki, which is not a bad play either. Though he doesn't set up his Bushwhacker very well. I guess stopping around here. I think that's his plan. He'll probably play Herbalist and a Gataki here to be able to try to get some more pressure into play. Alright, let's see what he does here. Yeah, looks like he's setting the Sacred Foundry aside. I think that's the plan. If he draws another land or another one-drop spell next turn, he could really cinch in this game here. Alright, he's going to play Herbalist. It's going to trigger. It'll make 2 green mana for him, which he'll probably just spend on the Gataki here. He could go for the Bushwhacker, but I don't really like that line because he essentially has no recourse to a restore balance. And the Herbalist, or the Goblin will not deal Wally enough damage in order to survive, or he'll be able to survive the burn spells left in his hand. So I don't think you would have played the Gataki here to slow down Wally for at least one turn. Like he's counting up the damage here. If he plays Bushwhacker here, he'd be attacking for, it looks like, 12 damage, which is really good, but again, it leaves Wally at 5, which is more than enough to survive the Atarka's command, and then Restore Balance will clean up the entire board.
Alright, he plays the Kataki.
Yeah, I like the Kataki here. I think it's the safer line. It's going to force Wally to most likely have to not be able to play Restore Balance this next turn. Looks like he's going to just attack for the 5 here. And now this next turn, he has if he's able to draw another spell, he'll probably be able to cinch up this game with the Bushwhacker in his hand. Looks like Wally's going to take a draw. It's another Cascade card. Unfortunately, not too helpful here. Yeah, this Kataki is really going to cause him a pain here. He looks like he's going to have to play his lands. He's just going to pass the turn. He's not even going to play his artifact mana because he's such under duress. Looks like he's going to draw. And that is, looks like a land there. That is a fetch land. That is basically perfect. He can fire off a Atarka's command, cast a Bushwhacker, and just put it into this game right now, I believe. It's like he's going to do it. Atarka's command, 3 damage, pump the team. I think that Atarka's command alone, I think it's enough to win the game here. I don't think he even needs to cast a Bushwhacker. Because that's going to deal Wally 3 damage, and it's going to pump his team, and that's going to be lethal. I think he still probably plays the Bushwhacker here anyway, because it looks like, just in case Wally has any kind of instant speed interaction, there's no reason not to make sure to get lethal on board. He's going to fetch here. Yeah, Charlie really had his draw lined up really well this game. And there's the Bushwhacker, and I'm pretty sure this is going to prompt the concession here. Attack with everything, and yeah, that's it. Looks like a timely Kataki was able to save Charlie's board just in time for him to finish off the game there.
Yeah, one of the better draws he could have drawn.
No, I agree. Again, just the Restore Balance deck is definitely a deck that is a little fragile at times. If you're able to interact with its mana sources, you can really hamper the deck. The deck is very reliant on being able to cast Restore Balance early in the game in order to stabilize the board. And Charlie just taking him off with 1 turn was enough to finish off the game. All right, so for game 3, it doesn't look like players are going to be making any changes. Look like just adjusting mats here. I think that Charlie must be happy with his configuration. He's clearly happy with how the game went. I'd be pretty happy too, getting the turn 4 kill with your disruption. I'm not sure. I don't think Charlie brought in the Lockdown Spiders. I didn't see them when he went in his deck, so I guess he probably didn't realize the interaction there. Though again, it is a little risky to have cards like that anyway, because you don't really want your opponent to have Restore Balance come off get cast. So I could see maybe not bringing them in, just kind of hoping to beat him before that happens. But I do like it as a safety valve. I don't know if Wally has anything to change. I don't think so. I think he's aware of how the Revolt Zoo deck works, so he's probably just going to present the same 60 as well here. Well, the Revolt Zoo deck being on the draw again is also really problematic. His deck is already kind of like a turn too slow for this matchup on average. So he's really going to have to rely, I think, on drawing his sideboard cards in his 3rd game. It's like both have red sleeves too, so that's sometimes hard to keep track of. Looks like Wally's hand has a looks like there's Restore Balance among other things in his hand. Looks like he just shipped it. It's not something he wants. All right, Charlie. I think that's a Stony Silence in his hand. One of the better cards in his matchup that he could have. I see a Wild Nicottle, a Bushwhacker, some lands. I believe that's actually a Foothood Boar. Actually, I apologize. Yeah, I think that's a hand you're going to keep. I mean, Stony Silence again is just really good in this matchup, and I don't think that Wally could afford to bring in artifact removal against the Revolt Zoo deck. Alright, looks like he has a Plains and some artifact mana. He's going to keep. He's going to scry. I think that was another border post he scried to the top.
Yep.
Which is going to be really sad if this Stony Silence comes down. Alright, looks like Wally's thinking about what he wants to do here, which border post he wants to play primarily. Alright, I'll start off with the green-white one and pass the turn. Draw, take a draw. He drew a Goblin Guy. That's a very good draw here. His the only problem with his hand was he was really missing a good 1-drop play, and now it looks like he found it in Goblin Guide. Probably finding Sacred Foundry here to make sure he can cast Stony Silence next turn. Looks like he's going to double check to make sure his mana situation is. Alright, so he must already have the white source in his hand then. I think he has another fetch line at the very least, so he'll be fine here. The Goblin Guide, again, being a great draw here, he'll fix this curve quite a bit. See what Wally gets. He's got. Looks like Wally did keep a border post on top, as we suspected. We'll take a draw here. It's always fun when you play against the Goblin deck. Sometimes, there's plenty of times where I've scried land to the top even when it's not that good. Just because, again, it's something that a lot of time you get to draw for free. Alright, so he's playing another border post past the turn. Well, if Wally or Charlie plays this Restore Balance, this is going to be really hard for Wally to come back from.
You mean Stony Silence?
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Stony Silence. Yeah, this is going to be... Looks like he's eyeing it right now. I mean, he could wait a turn, but I feel like it's rather risky to let the Restore Balance player have 3 mana.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good cards he could have at 3 mana, and again, if he plays it at 3, he could actually have like a Beast Within in his hand in order to interact with the Stony Silence. I think he's better off just getting into play now because it's so crippling.
Yeah, you definitely have to play that card.
Yes.
There's not much else you ever want to do against this deck.
Yeah, it's looking like he's going to play it. I think that's the right play there. Yeah, Wally's going to be probably really sad here. It's like Goblin Guy's going to attack, going to trigger. It's another border post. Those don't look so great anymore, unfortunately. I was going to draw it. I'm curious to see if Wally even continues to play these border posts. Looks like it's evolving well. Yeah, he's going to have to start developing his mana in a natural way here in order to stay in this game. Take a draw. That's a Tarkus command. Another pretty good draw here. It's going to be able for him to close out the game pretty shortly, hopefully, for him. Looks like he has Flint Boar and the Herbalist. Oh, he has Herbalist and the Bushwhacker. This draw is very good from Charlie here. So it looks like Charlie could play Herbalist and the Bushwhacker here, which seems fine, but I think he's better off playing Flint Boar, giving it haste, and then next turn playing that play, because I think that would be lethal damage to his opponent. We'll see if he wants to go for the Bushwhacker here, but I think I like waiting a turn. So he's going to fetch, and that's not surprising. Probably grabbing a Stomping Ground here. His deck typically doesn't need double white for anything. I'm pretty sure Core Firewalker stayed in the sideboard for this match. Yep. So does he go for the Herbalist here, or is he going to play the Flint Boar? We'll see. Looks like he's going to play... Let's see. It looks like he's eyeing the Herbalist here. Yeah, he's going to go for the Herbalist. And then I'll probably be a Bushwhacker here. He might go for a Herbalist into the Flint Boar, which is, I think, that's also not a bad play because the next turn he could play a Lightning Bolt into Bushwhacker. He's going to play the Bushwhacker here. Looks like I actually don't like playing the Bushwhacker this turn. I think that the Flint Boar is a better play here. Looks like he's might be coming to the same conclusion right now. I think he's doing some math in his head right now. I think he'll realize that the Flint Boar is, it's just a better play here. Because the Bushwhacker will be lethal next turn.
He's keeping the Lightning Bolts until the opponent's turn?
Yep. Looks like he's going to just give it haste and just attack with both. He revealed Gideon in the Trials. I don't know if Gideon's going to be able to get out of this trial, unfortunately. Looks like he's going to draw. He has some Plains in his hand. Yeah, this Stony Silence I think is just brutal for this Restore Balance deck. I was going to play another Terramorphic Expanse here. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be helpless to this onslaught of goblins coming down. Going to take a draw. Another Tarkus command. Just another way to close out the game here. I think he can just go Lightning Bolt Bushwhacker, and that'll probably seal it up. Looks like bolt right there. Yeah, put him to 8, and then cast the Bushwhacker here. He could just also cast the Tarkus command. I'm pretty sure both are lethal at this spot, but the Bushwhacker is more impressive, so you probably want to go for that one here. Yep, and that's it. Send him sideways, and yeah, that's going to be the game. Looks like Revolt 2 is able to power through the Restore Balance.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks guys for watching.